America's first colony, history of Jamestown, Virginia. Let's get cracking. Good moto morning. Welcome to another episode of Kraken's Garage. On Kraken's Garage, we discuss all good things on two wheels, some gear reviews, and some slight tutorials on maintaining your bike. Today's episode, we're going to talk about my trip to OBX, Outer Banks Crossing. Those are the beaches on the east coast of North Carolina that are just wonderful. We're going to pass through some historic areas. I hope you enjoy the ride. Shut her down here, and here we wait for the ferry to come back from the other side and empty their cars and then load us up and carry us across. So let's cut here and we'll get right back to it. I just passed through Jamestown, Virginia. Jamestown is a historic site in East Virginia. Historic Jamestown is home of the ruins of the first permanent English settlement in North America. It includes the remains of the 18th century Ambler Mansion. Artifacts from the region's settlers are on display at the Archaeological Museum. Nearby, the Jamestown settlement is a living history museum with recreations from a 1610 fort and a Powhatan Indian village. James VI and the first was King of Scotland as James VI from July 24th, 1567, and the King of England and Ireland as James I from the union of Scottish and English crowns on the 24th of March, 1603 until his death in 1625. Have you ever heard of Pocahontas? She was the favorite daughter of the most powerful Native American in Virginia. She took a keen interest in the new settlers on the island of the Big River that flowed to the bay, and she grew up to take a specific role as peacemaker between the English and the Powhatan Indians, a role that her early death cut short, giving her uncle an opportunity to order a massive sneak attack that killed hundreds of colonists. The world of Pocahontas changed dramatically during her lifetime. At her birth, her father, Wusinakaw, had expanded his political leadership across 8,000 square miles from the banks of the James River north to the Potomac River, covering more than 30 communities that included nearly 15,000 people. The English who came to Jamestown Island in 1607 resisted his wish that they become another subject community. Pocahontas was directly involved in the relationship between the English and the Powhatan Indians that whipsawed between friendly trade of food and open warfare and kidnapping. She herself was kidnapped from a village on the Potomac River and held in captivity for a year before she announced to Chief Powhatan her conversion to Christianity and her desire to marry English tobacco grower John Rolfe. She chose to take an English name, Rebecca, that means mother of two peoples, and they married in a large church inside James Fort on April 5th, 1614. They had a son. They traveled to England to promote the colony to investors, and Rebecca was celebrated in the highest London society. But as Rolfes began their return to Virginia, she took ill and died in Gravesend, England. Powhatan Indian Confederacy rapidly declined after her uncle's attack in 1622 failed to stop the English colonization. Her native world was largely lost to time until Jamestown Rediscovery Project began excavating James Fort site in 1994. The archaeological research has uncovered thousands of native artifacts, the largest known collection of Virginian Indian artifacts from the contact period. In 2010, Jamestown Rediscovery Team found the church site of her Fort James wedding. The website and a new exhibit in the Arcarium Museum on the island presents a vivid picture of Virginian Indians and colonists sharing the same space, fashioning a new world out of their two cultures. So there's some interesting fun facts about how the United States was carved. Arguably, I would say the birth of the United States started in Jamestown, Virginia, with King James creating this colony to basically start trade and commerce in a new world. There's a loosely based show on Netflix called Frontier, and it stars Jason Momoa, and basically it talks about him being a Native American Indian and the colonization of North America and how King James was going after the fur trading business. Now again, that's fiction. But King James reached all the way up into the most northern part of Canada, trying to control the fur trading globally. So, fascinating story and piece of history. So there's today's tidbit of history, and I hope it enlightened a few of you on a bit of Americana history. And I continue on my journey. We just crossed over the ferry at Jamestown into Scotland, Virginia. That's a free service offered by the state of Virginia, funded by the Department of Transportation, so it's quite nice. If you're riding around the East Coast in this area, it's worth your while to stop by and see the Jamestown Museum and dig site and the artifacts that they dug up and the very rich history of Jamestown and Pocahontas and how that all went down. So make it a point to stop there. I highly recommend it. So every year my family rents a cottage down at Kill Devil Hills, Outer Banks Crossing in North Carolina. The ride is not very interesting, so I lost all my audio from the wonderful GoPro on this trip, so I'm doing a voiceover and doing the best I can with what I have to work with. I'm just showing in the background some causeways that I'm going over, bridges that are semi-interesting. I hope you enjoy the scenery as I share a few thoughts going down the road. The older I get, the more I enjoy getting quality time spent with family and friends and loved ones, and a little slice of heaven in life, especially in recent last year or two regarding the pandemic and things of that nature. It's nice to get out. I will say, during the entire journey all the way to Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, there wasn't a single gas station that was open that you could walk into, or a fast food facility. I was unable to use the restroom or get a bite to eat while I was on the road. I basically had to go through drive up and juggle the food and a soda on the bike and eat on the curb and then get back on the road. I said hello to everybody, ran inside and hit the restroom right quickly. Now, regarding my back and how it did, quite honestly, this was the very first trip I took all summer long. Other than just going down to the local stores or something of that nature, this is the only trip I took the entire summer of 2020-21. My back did 100%. It was great. No issues there. The only issue I had on this trip was my stamina, and I ran out of stamina quickly, so as a result I took many breaks on this trip. It wasn't a very long trip, maybe 250 miles, 275 miles each way, and I just took my time, and if I felt fatigued I'd pull over and do a self-awareness check, and by the time I got there I was pretty much done, so it was a good one to cut my teeth on. So that's kind of the first half of this trip, and piecing together with some voiceovers. I'll share some pictures of my vacation when I got down there on the trip home, with another voiceover video coming up here in not too long. We got to dine at some really nice Eastern seafood, oysters, Rockefeller, Maryland crabs, that kind of thing. Enjoyed it immensely. So all in all, the trip took maybe 5-6 hours to get down there from where I live, and that includes many stops. The weather was absolutely perfect the entire trip, coming and going. I couldn't have asked for any better. Weather was in the mid-70s the entire trip. It doesn't get much better than that. And to all my end watchers, this week's shout out goes to UCM Pigs. He has 174 subs, 54 videos out. Sean lives not too far away from me here in the state of Virginia. I've reached out to him on Instagram, and I hope to reach out to him and plan a get-together and buy him lunch and meet up with another moto vlogger. He has proudly served with the United States Navy. I don't know if he's retired or still serving, but thank you for your service, sir. How he fancies himself as just a guy who lives on a budget, inexpensive road trips, bike parts, upgrades, and wonderful people he meets on two wheels. He recently took a trip solo by himself to Daytona, and he's rocking a street glide, I believe. This guy's solid. If you watch his content, he's legitimately just got started in YouTube, and he's doing good things. He's an honorable man. His editing skills are quite good. I highly recommend him, and give him some love and support. If you do happen to like his content and subscribe to him, please let him know that Kraken sent you. And keep doing the great work that you're doing, Sean. And thank you for your service. And that's going to wind up this video. If you would like to be a patron, the link is listed down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more in the future, hit the subscribe button right down there in the corner. And remember, folks, go riding. It's good for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.